The 3 ongoing battles were all clashes between powerhouses. From the very start of the battle, both Shifu and Qin Tian unleashed a monstrous fighting spirit. Although most of the force was contained within the barrier of black and white life and death force, streams of terrifying Do Qi imbued with the same power occasionally leaked out, leaving the onlookers with a sense of unease. Such a terrifying energy, just a mere touch of it, and even the strongest might be shattered to dust. This was truly a duel between a peak Do Di powerhouse and a half-step Do Xian. The two fought fiercely, with no clear winner in sight for the time being. Seeing this, Xianling King exchanged glances with his companion, his anxiety easing slightly. He knew that his royal uncle had long reached the peak of Do Di after decades of cultivation. However, his opponent was no less than Shifu, a veteran powerhouse from the Serpentfolk clan. Shifu's strength was indeed that of a genuine half-step Do Xian, making Xianling King fear most that Qin Tian might fall. If Qin Tian were to lose, their entire mission would fail. With this in mind, Xianling King focused even more on summoning fiery red flames that made the very space around them tremble with heat. Meanwhile, the aftermath of the battle around the blue flower serpent was slowly dissipating. Cough, cough, cough. The blue flower serpent gasped for breath after the earth-shattering explosion settled. In the next moment, its pupils constricted tightly, eyes frozen in disbelief. Earlier, under the suppression of some strange soul power hidden within the core of the battle, the blue flower serpent had its strength greatly weakened. But when the deadly blow from Fan Yu arrived, the blue flower serpent clearly sensed a massive figure shielding it from the fatal attack. Now, lying before the blue flower serpent was a gigantic purple serpent, severely wounded by the terrifying strike from Fan Yu. The enormous purple serpent sprawled across the desert like an ant, its once vibrant body now devoid of life, and its eyes dim like ashes. A strong smell of burnt flesh emanated from its scorched body, and deep, visible wounds marred its surface. Blood oozed slowly from the gashes, pooling in the sand below. Little Purple. Ignoring its own internal injuries, the blue flower serpent instantly darted toward the fallen serpent lying in the sand. Little Purple, wake up! The anguished cry echoed across the desert. Cough, cough. The massive purple serpent's body trembled slightly, and then, as if mustering all its remaining strength, it slowly turned its head toward the blue flower serpent. Master, as long as you're safe. The purple serpent's eyes filled with relief upon seeing no severe injuries on the blue flower serpent. Seeing this, the blue flower serpent seemed to realize something. Little Purple, without my command, you weren't supposed to do this. The resolute gaze of the blue flower serpent broke, and tears the size of raindrops fell onto the purple serpent's body. Master, they're just too strong. Let me be selfish just this once. The purple serpent smiled weakly at the blue flower serpent before encasing it in a protective cocoon of purple energy, instantly transporting the blue flower serpent a safe distance away. No matter how much the blue flower serpent struggled, it couldn't break free from the purple energy. Having done all this, the battered body of the purple serpent miraculously began to stir once more. The immense power of a peak 8-star Do Di surged forth. Incredible! It can still stand? Xianimo sneered coldly, casting a casual glance at the others. You're all dead. Upon seeing this, Lu Di's eyes flickered with madness, and it launched another furious attack on Xianimo. Xianimo, sensing a hint of danger from Lu Di's energy, though faint, didn't take it too seriously. Black Qi re-emerged as he resumed his battle against Lu Di. What's the purple serpent doing? Yao Xian, whose aura was weak, asked in confusion, unable to comprehend what was happening with the purple serpent. This is bad. It's going to self-destruct. As the realization hit, the energy that Fan Yu had gathered returned to its original source, his pupils narrowing in horror. A terrifying surge of dread washed over him. Self-destruction. It was a desperate act, sacrificing one's own life for a moment of unparalleled destructive power. Scatter! Fan Yu shouted in panic, cold sweat trickling down his face. But before his voice could spread, the sky above suddenly filled with a vast wave of purple Do Qi. The critically injured purple serpent raised its head to the heavens, unleashing a soul-shaking roar. The sound cut through the sky, filled with a terrifying, unyielding pride. The Medusa clan's dignity is inviolable. The purple serpent howled toward the sky, and before its shattered body, a dragon eye-sized purple energy sphere began to form. As soon as the purple sphere appeared, waves of annihilating power slowly radiated outward. Without giving Fanyu and his group a chance to react, the purple sphere exploded with a deafening bang. Boom, boom, boom. A flood of destruction surged from the purple sphere, morphing into a bizarre force of purple devastation. The terrifying purple energy exploded from the purple serpent's body, engulfing Fanyu's group in its core. Damn it! Fanyu, realizing the hopelessness of the situation, knew that there was no escaping. His expression grew grim as silver spatial energy surged from his palm, trying to transfer the self-destruct energy away. We'll help too. Nearby, Yao Xian, Qing Mu, Xian Wanxin, Mu Chunfeng, and Mu Chun erupted with their terrifying auras, clashing head-on with the destructive force. Swish, swish. The waves of destructive energy spread rapidly, clashing with Fanyu's silver spatial do chi. Bang, bang, bang. Fanyu spat out a mouthful of blood as the silver-white spatial do chi was utterly consumed by the purple destruction. It's no use, I can't hold it back. Fanyu's pupils contracted in shock. Only now did he truly realize the terror of a peak 8-star do D's self-destruction. Let's join forces. Yao Xian cried, forming a massive 5-colored do chi shield below. Stop it! With Fanyu's support, the colossal do chi shield morphed into 6 colors, its defenses impenetrable, even against a full-force strike from a 4-turn do D. Boom, boom, boom. The purple destruction clashed with the 6-colored shield, sending a surge of overwhelming energy outward. The blue flower serpent's eyes flickered with a strange purple light, and it spat out a mouthful of purple blood. Little purple. The blue flower serpent's heart-wrenching cry echoed across the heavens. Little purple. The agonizing scream continued to reverberate through the skies. The purple attacks bombarded the 6-colored shield, and the once sturdy do chi barrier slowly began to fracture bit by bit. With a final resounding crash, the 6-colored do chi shield shattered, and the purple energy relentlessly struck the 6 figures. Himph! Just as a wave of dread swept over the 5 of them, Yao Xian summoned all his remaining strength, and a surge of soul power appeared again, colliding head-on with the purple energy. This soul power managed to weaken the destructive force of the purple energy significantly. Without it, their fate would have been far more dire. Cough, cough, cough. Fanyu and his group each spat out blood, their auras now noticeably weakened. Yao Xian, however, fainted on the spot once the purple energy dissipated, clearly exhausted from the immense strain. Damn it! Fanyu cursed, cold sweat trickling down his back. Had it not been for Yao Xian's timely use of soul power, they would have met a far worse fate. Xian Wanxin, take care of her. Fanyu gently handed the unconscious Yao Xian to Xian Wanxin. Blue flower serpent, it's time we settle the years of enmity between the Xinling royal family and your people. Fanyu trudged forward with heavy steps, heading towards the heartbroken blue flower serpent. Little purple, little purple. The blue flower serpent wailed into the sky, pain flooding its eyes. Boom, boom, boom. 3 more mouthfuls of blood burst from its lips as the once mighty strength of a 5-turn 9-star do D dwindled rapidly to the level of a 1-turn 9-star do D in mere moments. It seems the death of your companion spirit serpent has truly shaken your essence, remarked Qing Mu, her tone laced with sympathy. Your power will likely never advance again. The loss of a companion spirit serpent to a serpentfolk is like losing one's heart, Xian Wanxin commented softly, still cradling Yao Xian in her arms. Such is the way of battle, Xian Wanxin continued quietly. Let's end it. Take care of the blue flower serpent, and then stop the 7-colored heaven-swallowing python. We need to give Xinling King enough time to enter the divine hall, Qing Mu said decisively, her lips barely moving. It's over for you, blue flower serpent. Fan Yu raised his hand, and a brilliant surge of silver Do Chi emerged. The overwhelming power of a peak 8-star Do Di exploded forth, heading straight for the devastated Blue Flower Serpent. Blue Flower Serpent, why do you persist? A light sigh came from the desert. As the voice rang out, Fan Yu's terrifying attack dissolved into dust. At that moment, a towering figure appeared beside the Blue Flower Serpent. The newcomer was a man of refined appearance, though his physique suggested immense strength. Strangely, despite his masculine form, his pupils were as bewitching as a woman's. Peak 8-star Do Di, Fan Yu murmured, sensing a chill run down his spine from the man's presence. Mylan, Little Purple is gone. The Blue Flower Serpent murmured weakly, its eyes empty of any hope. I've always warned you. Choosing the path of a companion spirit serpent may offer a slim chance to break through to Do Xian, but the cost is too great, Mylan said softly. Your power. It will never improve again. Mylan carefully examined the Blue Flower Serpent's condition, noting that while the injuries weren't life-threatening, the loss of the companion spirit serpent had deeply shaken its core, causing a significant drop in strength. If Little Purple is gone, what use is power? After this battle, I'll resign. The Blue Flower Serpent's voice was filled with resolution, clearly having made its decision. We'll talk after the battle. For now, just watch from the sidelines. Mylan's gentle demeanor vanished as he opened his eyes, radiating an eerie energy that locked onto Fan Yu and his group. Was it you who harmed my wife and daughter? Mylan's voice turned cold as a monstrous aura surged around him. That energy, could he be Mylan of the enchanting serpent tribe? Mu Chunfeng asked in a low voice, his expression darkening. You little rat, it was you. Mylan's sharp eyes immediately fixed on Mu Chunfeng, his gaze murderous. An arrogant peak 8-star Do Di is nothing special. Fan Yu scoffed, his own 8-star Do Di power flaring to life. I'll hold him off. Qing Mu, make your move. Fan Yu barked. Target the Blue Flower Serpent. With a cold snort, Fan Yu leaped forward, clashing head-on with Mylan. You little pest, I'll kill you today. Mylan snarled at Mu Chunfeng before turning his full attention to Fan Yu. Though Fan Yu was a formidable peak 8-star Do Di, both were equally matched. Any slight lapse in concentration could decide the outcome, so Mylan had no choice but to focus entirely on Fan Yu for now. As for Mu Chunfeng, he would deal with him later. In the enchanting serpent tribe, Mylan and Meiya were deeply in love, and their daughter was naturally cherished. That Mu Chunfeng had taken her hostage was an unforgivable insult, especially for the proud Medusa clan. Mylan would ensure he reclaimed his honor. Sigh. The Blue Flower Serpent, slowly recovering from its sorrow, knew it couldn't afford to collapse now. If it did, the Medusa clan could suffer heavy losses, possibly leading to their demise in the desert. Bring it on. Qing Mu, despite being a woman, was also a peak 8-star Do Di. She gathered her massive Do Chi into her palm and launched a deadly attack toward the Blue Flower Serpent's vital points. You think you can kill me? The Blue Flower Serpent sneered and instantly moved to evade. However, in the next moment, something felt off. As the Blue Flower Serpent circulated its Do Chi, it noticed its energy flow slowing down drastically. Its movements became sluggish, and Qing Mu's attack landed squarely. Cough, cough, cough. Another mouthful of blood spurted out as the Blue Flower Serpent's expression finally showed a trace of fear. For the first time, it felt death closing in. The fall of my companion spirit serpent has disrupted my bloodline, and my strength is unstable. My power may be reduced to that of a one-turn 9-star Do Di, but in truth, I might not even match an early 8-star Do Di, the Blue Flower Serpent thought, carefully analyzing its internal injuries. This strike will end you. Qing Mu's body gleamed with radiant energy as she summoned an overwhelming force, preparing to deliver the final blow. Blue Flower Serpent. Lu Di roared furiously from the side, desperately wanting to come to its aid. You should worry about yourself first. Xianemo snarled, once again engaging Lu Di. Though Xianemo couldn't defeat a one-turn 9-star Do Di, stalling for time was no problem. Die! Qing Mu raised her glowing hand, and the radiant energy transformed into countless raindrops, drifting toward the blue flower serpent. In an instant, the shimmering droplets converged around the blue flower serpent. A rare smile crept onto Qingmu's lips as she clenched her hand tightly. As Qingmu clenched her jade-like hand, the shimmering raindrops surrounding the blue flower serpent shot toward it with deadly intent. Swish, swish. As the captain of the Medusa Serpent Guard, I won't be easily killed by the likes of you. At the moment when the crystalline raindrops appeared, a wave of black and white energy surged forth. Qingmu's pupils constricted as she beheld an elderly figure who seemed plain and unassuming. However, the black and white life and death force swirling around him was strikingly prominent. 9-star Do Di? Qingmu's expression turned heavy as she sensed the dangerous aura emanating from the old man. The figure before her was an old man clad in simple gray robes, his eyes calm yet flickering with a fierce killing intent. With just a casual wave of his hand, the lethal attack Qingmu had launched dissolved in an instant. Elder Serpent, the blue flower serpent trembled upon seeing him. Rest assured, the Medusa clan is not something the Xianling royal family can easily destroy. The Elder, now referred to as Elder Serpent, said coldly. Damn it! Fan Yu cursed. The experts of the Medusa clan's 9 great tribes have already arrived. Mu Chunfeng said with a trembling voice. Mylan of the Enchanting Serpent tribe, a peak 8-star Do Di, is fighting Fan Yu. And now, the elder in front of Qingmu, his strength is likely at least at the 9-star Do Di level. Stay calm. The blue flower serpent has already lost its fighting power. Even if it recovers, its strength will never be what it once was. Now, we only face the leader of one of the Medusa clan's 9 tribes. From what I know, only 3 of the 9 tribe leaders have reached the terrifying level of a 9-star Do Di. The Ink Serpent tribe, the Avenger tribe, and the Serpent King tribe. This old man must be the leader of the Serpent King tribe, known as the Serpent King, a genuine 4-turn 9-star Do Di. Mu Chen muttered in a steady voice, as wood-type Do Chi surged around him, creating a defense against the residual waves from the other battles. Humans, so ruthless. The Serpent King gently sent out a thread of energy to examine the blue flower serpent's injuries. Discovering the extensive damage and the complete disappearance of its companion spirit serpent, his fury ignited. To the Serpentfolk, the companion spirit serpent was akin to their heart. The death of the companion spirit serpent would either lead to the death of the Serpent Guard captain or permanently weaken their foundation. In this state, the blue flower serpent had no combat ability left. Even if it recovered, its strength would likely remain at the 1-turn 9-star Do Di level, and it might even suffer from lingering ailments. You will pay for this. The Serpent King was enraged. His previously calm gaze turned vicious upon realizing the extent of the blue flower serpent's injuries. Damn it! Stop him! Qingmu bit her lip, suppressing her own weakness as she ordered her comrades. Mu Chun and the others exchanged glances, and their terrifying auras burst forth again. They ascended into the air, surrounding Elder Serpent from all sides. Xianling King. Hurry up, we can't hold them off much longer. Qingmu sent a small pulse of energy toward the Xianling King before focusing on the task at hand, working alongside Mu Chun and the others to deal with Elder Serpent. A group of ignorant humans. Today, you will experience the might of the Medusa clan. The Serpent King sneered. His aged hands glowed with a terrifying black and white light, representing the power of life and death. Though the Serpent King's life and death force was not as potent as the blue flower serpents had been earlier, the latter had been hindered by Yao Xian's unique soul suppression, preventing it from unleashing its full strength, which had led to its defeat. Now, with Yao Xian unconscious due to overuse of her soul power, Qingmu and her companions' expressions grew tense as they faced the unrestrained strength of the Serpent King. We just need to stall him until the Xianling King defeats the 7-colored heaven-swallowing python. Qingmu transmitted her plan to the others. Understood. They all nodded in agreement, unleashing their vast power as they attacked Elder Serpent. The Medusa clan's strong reinforcements have arrived. Mylan from the Enchanting Serpent tribe, a peak 8-star Do Di, and now the Serpent King from the Serpent King tribe, a 4-turn 9-star Do-D. No matter, the energy should be sufficient now. Xianling King muttered to himself, then turned his gaze to the 7-colored heaven, swallowing python before him. In the sky above, Yimo and Xian Ming's auras were growing unstable. After their prolonged battle with the 7-colored heaven, swallowing python, even their 9-star Do-D strength was beginning to wane. Big guy, are you all right? Qing Yan, who was atop the 7-colored heaven swallowing python, noticed the python's massive form flickering slightly after such an extended fight with the two elders. Hiss! The python flicked its tongue and stared intently at the Xianling King, who hovered in midair. The relentless attacks from Yimo and Xian Ming had forced it into a defensive stance, and it had to protect Qing Yan as well, preventing it from unleashing its true power. Little Purple! A heart-wrenching cry echoed through the skies. The 7-colored heaven, swallowing python, lowered its head and witnessed the scene of the fallen purple serpent and the severely weakened blue flower serpent. Qing Yan also heard the desperate cry and felt a pang of sorrow in her heart. Big guy! Finish them! Qing Yan commanded as she noticed two figures reappearing beside the blue flower serpent. From their aura, she could tell that they, too, belonged to the Medusa clan. Her frustration with the Xianling royal family grew, especially after seeing the blue flower serpent so grievously injured. Although her time with the blue flower serpent had been brief, Qing Yan had come to realize that it was an outstanding leader, and seeing it in such a state made her acutely aware of the importance of power. That guy is strong. The 7-colored heaven swallowing python opened its massive jaws, a hint of vigilance flashing in its serpentine eyes as it fixed its gaze on the Xianling King, who was guarded by Yimo and Xian Ming. At this moment, the flames surrounding the Xianling King were as dense as muddy lake water. What kind of power is that? Qing Yan lifted her delicate face slightly, her eyes locked onto the Xianling King. Serpentfolk had always been cold-blooded creatures, drawn to damp and dark places. The sight of the fiery aura surrounding the Xianling King stirred an instinctive fear within her. Is it ready yet? The experts of the 9 great tribes of the Medusa clan have arrived. If we don't retreat now, the losses will be catastrophic. Yimo muttered darkly, clearly fatigued from his fight with the 7-colored heaven swallowing python. Although powerful, even Yimo was finding the battle draining. Fortunately for him and Xian Ming, the python was focused on protecting Qing Yan on its back. Otherwise, the two of them might have already been defeated. A mere remnant soul of the 7-colored heaven, swallowing python dares to stand in my way? Xianling King sneered, and a domineering, regal aura exploded from his body. As this force surged out, the Xianling King's entire body became engulfed in fiery red flames, causing the surrounding space to distort and fracture. Terrifying, swirling fire vortexes formed, each fueled by the flames emanating from his body. The 7-colored heaven, swallowing python, stared at the vortexes with growing dread, an icy chill creeping through its core. Ha ha ha! The Xianling King laughed maniacally as endless streams of red flames continued to pour from his body, resembling an insatiable black hole. Hiss, hiss. Although the python couldn't fully understand the Xianling King's intentions, its instincts, honed by countless battles and its acute sense of danger, detected a deathly aura emanating from the Xianling King that sent shivers down its spine. Around the pristine white divine hall, 3 massive battles raged on, intensifying with each passing moment. What is that? Elder Zhu, hidden within his concealed space, suddenly stood up, his usually lazy eyes narrowing sharply as he focused on the flames enveloping the Xianling King. More specifically, on the fiery red flames around the Xianling King's body. Yin Qi? A cold shiver ran down Elder Zhu's spine. No. Although these flames resemble Yin Qi's, they are much weaker. Strange. Elder Zhu, being a half-step Docian, quickly realized that while the Xianling King's flames were more fearsome than Xiaoyan's heavenly flames, they fell far short of Sacred Flames level. Could it be the Xianling King? A wild thought surfaced in Elder Zhu's mind. With his vast experience, Elder Zhu was well aware that the bloodline of the swallowing python could suppress sacred flames under certain conditions. Damn it! If that's truly the case, then even if I have to risk grave injury or death, I, Zhu Jin, will ensure the destruction of the Xinling royal family. Elder Zhu declared, eyes locked on the terrifying battle below. If the Medusa clan faced a true life-or-death crisis, Elder Zhu wouldn't hesitate to intervene. After all, aside from the complex relationship between the Incense Pavilion and the Medusa clan, the long-standing enmity between the pavilion and the Xinling royal family meant he couldn't allow the Xinling royal family to triumph. Seven-colored heaven swallowing python. If your true body were here, I might fear you. But in your current state, you are just a mere remnant soul. Even with your peak Do-D strength, you think you can stop me? A remnant soul should know its place. Vanish! Xinling King sneered as he directed his scorn at the python. Who wins or loses has yet to be decided. The seven-colored heaven swallowing python roared defiantly, an unyielding pride surging forth. Flame vortex annihilation. Xinling King shouted, raising his voice several octaves. The red flames surrounding him detached from his body and coalesced into a gigantic flaming flood dragon. The dragon, shimmering with fiery red brilliance, was semi-transparent, and as it appeared, the surrounding space collapsed in its wake. The dragon coiled around the Xinling King's body, merging with him. The dragon fused with him. Seven-colored heaven swallowing python. Now die. Xinling King's voice thundered across the skies. The python's serpent eyes glimmered with 7 distinct colors. In a swift motion, it flung Qing Yin from its back to safety. Its pupils widened, and the 7 sections of its multicolored body wriggled violently. Hiss, hiss. The python let out a mournful cry, and as soon as Qing Yin left its body, 7 different types of power exploded from each of its 7 colored sections. An overwhelming aura of destruction enveloped the 7-colored heaven swallowing python, and its snake eyes fixed coldly on the Xinling King. Beast! Die! Xinling King sneered, satisfied with what he saw. His delay in attacking wasn't to allow Qing Yin to escape. It was to prepare the red flood dragon that coiled around him. When the dragon first appeared, its eyes were colorless. But as it continued to coil around the Xinling King, wisps of black qi seeped into the dragon's body, and its pupils snapped open, filled with the power of destruction. Go! With a powerful gesture, the Xinling King sent the terrifying red flood dragon soaring into the sky like a bolt of lightning. In its wake, it left trails of fiery, destructive energy. Hiss! The python's massive body suddenly moved, its tail shimmering with 7-colored light as it clashed head-on with the red flood dragon. Big guy, Qing Yin, now aware of the python's intentions, felt a pang of sadness. The python was preparing to sacrifice itself. From the subtle fluctuations it had detected earlier, Qing Yin realized that even the mighty 7-colored heaven swallowing python was struggling to handle the Xinling King's fiery power. That's why the python had sent Qing Yin away. It knew that with just its remnant soul, it wouldn't be able to stand against the Xinling King. Boom! Boom, boom. Waves of destructive fire spread from the clash between the python and the red flood dragon, rippling through the sky. TSK, TSK, TSK. As expected of the Medusa clan's guardian beast, Yimo and Xian Ming muttered in unison as they retreated several dozen steps to avoid being caught in the aftermath of the battle. Yet, their expressions darkened. They knew that within the Xinling royal family's underground palace, only the first 5 levels were accessible to people like them. The mysterious 6th and 7th levels, however, remained off-limits, even to them. Of the entire Xinling royal family, only Qin Tian, the Xinling King, and one other enigmatic figure could access the final 2 levels. Even Yimo, a 4-turn 9-star Do-D, was only allowed entry into the 6th level, revealing the extent of the secrecy surrounding the 7th level. Clearly, something extraordinary was hidden within the 7th level of the underground palace. The energy radiating from the Xinling King. It seems connected to whatever is sealed in the 7th level of the underground palace. Yimo retreated even further, deep in thought. It was becoming clear to him that the real reason for attacking the Medusa clan wasn't simply to weaken them or prevent the rise of new powerhouses. Elder Yi, what do we do now? Xin Ming, having also sensed something amiss, asked cautiously. However, Yimo remained silent, unwilling to speak, and Xian Ming lacked the courage to act without Yimo's direction. Just wait and see. After all, the seven-colored heaven-swallowing python is only a remnant soul. Under the Xinling King's terrifying assault, it likely won't last much longer. Just wait, Yimo said in a low voice. Hearing this, Xian Ming also glanced over at the Xinling King, whose expression had become increasingly savage as he continuously channeled even more vast amounts of fiery red do qi into the red flood dragon locked in a standoff with the seven-colored heaven-swallowing python. Hiss, hiss. The seven-colored heaven-swallowing python let out an earth-shattering roar, and a flicker of pain flashed through its serpentine eyes. It wasn't the red flood dragon itself that was terrifying, but the strange power contained within its flames. The fire was relentlessly eroding the python's body, causing its already semi-transparent form to dim even further. With another furious howl, the seven-colored heaven-swallowing python channeled a brilliant surge of seven-colored energy into its massive tail, trying to resist the consuming flames. Hiss. The red flood dragon's flames were highly effective against the python. As more do qi poured from the Xinling King into the dragon, it let out a triumphant roar and opened its jaws wide. Roar. In the next moment, the red flood dragon swallowed the seven-colored heaven-swallowing python whole. Big guy, goodbye, Qing Yin whispered softly, her eyes returning to normal as she gently waved farewell to the python. A tear welled up in her eye, but she didn't hesitate any longer, quickly running toward the blue flower serpent's side.